7 races remain in the chase for NASCAR's playoffs, and for some drivers will need a little bit of magic to help lock themselves in for the chase for the championship. And what better place to get the job done than at the Magic Mile, as MDK RaceDay gets you set and ready for today's Foxwoods Resort Casino 301, live from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the studio. My name is Jack Krause. I'm going to get you set and ready for tonight's NASCAR Cup Series race from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It was expected to be a hot but beautiful day nonetheless, with a less than 10% chance of rain here today. Let's first start off with the Inside the Lines Rapid Fire. We begin with 3 stories starting in the world of IMSA. NASCAR is on the hunt to improve its racing events during this global pandemic, and its latest effort is a solid one. The series is adding an IMSA race to its roster during the Bank of America Roval 400 event at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The IMSA GT classes will hit the track for the first time on Friday, October 9th, for a 60-minute practice session. The following night, viewers will be treated to a 100-minute race that encompasses all 17 turns of the Roval. On to the world of IndyCar, as next week's scheduled IndyCar Series doubleheader at Mid-Ohio has now been postponed due to ongoing concerns over the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still surging in several areas of the USA. According to World Meters, the 7-day average number of new coronavirus cases in Ohio 6 weeks ago was 410. Whereas yesterday, that had become 1,341, an increase of 227%. In a statement from the racetrack, they said, quote, IndyCar and Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course have agreed to postpone the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, scheduled for August 7th to the 9th until a date to be determined in September or October. The decision was made through communication with local health officials given the current environment. Our team continues to work with our partners and our local government to identify a date later this year when we can host the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio. More information will be forthcoming as it becomes available. Visit midohio.com for ongoing updates. And finally, Cole Pearn is returning to the racing world for the month of August. Ed Carpenter Racing announced Wednesday that the NASCAR Cup Series Championship winning crew chief will join its NTT IndyCar Series engineering staff for the Indianapolis 500 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The team has pegged Pearn as the lead engineer on Connor Daly's number 47 U.S. Air Force Chevrolet. Cole Pearn retired from full-time NASCAR duties at the end of the 2019 season after working atop Martin Truex Jr.'s pit box for 5 years. Over the course of 179 starts together, the two won the 2017 championship and 24 races overall. This will mark Pearn's first Indianapolis 500 experience as an engineer. Let's take a look now at the track facts for today's race at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The surface is a combination of asphalt and granite. The banking in the turns varies from 2 to 7 degrees in banking, and the straights are just a slim 1 degree. And here's some little factoids that you might want to know. The track is nicknamed the Magic Mile for its length of just over 1 mile, 1.058 miles to be exact. The first race was held back in 1993 in July, with Rusty Wallace winning for Penske Racing. And here's a quick little nugget for all you Ford fans. Ford has won 10 of the 25 races, at least in this July event. However, Joe Gibbs has the most victories with 7. Now, the most wins among active drivers is a tie between 5 drivers: Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, and Kurt Busch, all with 2 apiece. Now let's take a look at the playoff grid. Now originally we would show you all 20 drivers of the playoff grid to see who is where, but for now we're going to take a look at the 3 drivers that are in terms of the last 3 drivers in, and the first 3 drivers that are out of the playoffs. So we start off with the top 3 being Clint Bowyer, Matt DiBenedetto, and William Byron 14th, 15th, and 16th. Bowyer is 42 points above, DiBenedetto 35, and Byron just a mere 10 points ahead of rookie Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones in 18th, 12 points behind, and Jimmy Johnson 19th, 18 points behind. Remember last weekend at Kansas, Johnson was involved in that accident that costing him a ton of stage points. He came into last week's race at Kansas with, I believe, just a 2-point cushion ahead of William Byron. Now, obviously, after what transpired on Kansas on Thursday, and Byron having a good top 10 run, if I'm not mistaken, that jumps Byron to the playoff spot, and Johnson now loses 2 spots to 19th, or 3 spots, I should say, down to the 19th position. Now, for those 6 drivers, it is going to be very key on where they start from these next 7 races, and qualifying results were drawn out on Thursday, and once again, for I think this is a 3rd or 4th week in a row, Eric Almirola starts on pole. Yes, again, he starts on pole. To his outside is the Toyota driver of Denny Hamlin, last week's winner. Row 2 has a Chevrolet of Chase Elliott and Brad Keselowski in the 2 car. Kyle Busch and Clint Bowyer make up row number 3. Actually, good job for Clint Bowyer. A bit of lucky for him. I think these past 2 or 3 weeks he has been drawn. It has been outside the top 20, if I'm not mistaken, so nice turnaround for the 14 team. His teammate Kevin Harvick starts 7th. To his outside is the 88 car of Alex Bowman. And rounding out the top 10 is Joey Logano and Kurt Busch, a 2-time New Hampshire winner. Row 6 is Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney. Row 7 has a pair of rookies, Reddick on the inside and Cole Custer on the outside. Row 8 has Bubba Wallace with Cash App on the hood in today's race, and William Byron, the Liberty University Chevrolet. Row 9 has Eric Jones trying to fight his way into NASCAR's playoffs, starts 17th, and to his outside is Michael McDowell. Row 10 has one driver trying to stay in the playoffs and another driver trying to fight his way back in, DiBenedetto on the inside, and Jimmy Johnson, another 2-time winner, on the outside. Matt Kenseth and Ryan Newman make up row 11. Row 12 makes up Austin Dillon and Chris Buescher. Row 13 has Ty Dillon and James Davison. Row 14 has Garrett Smithley and Joey Gase. Row 15, J.J. Yaley and Ryan Preece. And finally, row 16 has Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and rookie Quinn Houff. And here's a look at the final 3 rows. Corey LaJoie and Brenton Poole, row 17. Row 18, rookies Christopher Bell and John Hunter Nemechek. And rounding out the field is Daniel Suarez and Timmy Hill. Alright, so now what are some expectations for today's race? Well, I think it's going to be another chapter in the long season rivalry between Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick. These 2 drivers have been the class of the season. Remember last year, let's flash back to last July. It was those 2, Harvick and Hamlin, battling for the race win. Hamlin giving a nudge to Kevin Harvick, trying to do the bump and run, entering turn 1 and 2. Was not able to get the job done, and Harvick will go on to win. Now, a fun little factoid, the past 3 winners, if I'm not mistaken, have been Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick. Harvick won last fall and the previous fall in 2018, while Denny Hamlin won back in July of 2018. So now you have 2 of the top drivers that are not only good at the racetrack, but are recent winners. This spells for another great chapter in their long season rivalry. But I will say, keep an eye on Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, he ran really good at Kansas last Thursday. Unfortunately, hit the wall that caused him to not get a top 5 finish, but still went really good, and it was rare because he actually showed speed. It's kind of odd to say that about Kyle Busch. Remember, he's winless in 2020. He is a former winner at the New Hampshire Speedway, 2 victories, like I said earlier in the show. He knows how to get the job done at the Magic Mile. He could be a factor. Watch out for him. He sits, I think, 12th in the standings or 11th in points right now. Again, has not won a race yet. He is very hungry. He could spoil the party between Harvick and Hamlin. Although one group, and I'm talking about a group of drivers that I'm concerned about, is the Chevrolet group. Remember, Ford has won 10 of the 25 races in terms of this event. Toyota, Joe Gibbs, have the most victories with 7. The last Chevrolet driver to win a race at New Hampshire, you have to go all the way back to 2012, Casey Kane with Hendrick Motorsports. And speaking about Hendrick Motorsports, I'm kind of concerned about that team heading into this weekend. They've not had recent success. Again, like I said, it's been nearly 10 years since they went last at victory lane. And I know Jimmy Johnson has a top 5 average finish, but his last top 5 finish was back in 2012, the same race that Casey Kane won. That's how long it's been since Johnson has even had a top 5 finish at New Hampshire. Now, granted, Johnson, he still has gotten top 10 finishes at that racetrack since 2012. But when you look at the overall speed of Chevrolet, it started out great, and then it just fell off near these past few weeks. I just don't see Chevrolet getting or showing any speed at this race. New Hampshire is not a Chevrolet-friendly racetrack. In fact, since 2014, race winners have either been from Team Penske, Joe Gibbs Racing, or Stewart-Haas Racing. 2 Ford teams and a Toyota team. That does not spell any good news for the Chevrolet group. I think if you're going to look at a driver that I think is going to shine, you're going to look at a Jimmy Johnson or Chase Elliott maybe. But Chevrolet is going to be the type of group that I'd be worried about having speed. And this is going to be big if they do not have speed for drivers like Johnson and Byron, because those two drivers are fighting to get their way into the playoffs, as well as Tyler Reddick. They're trying to fight their way in the playoffs. And when you look at just overall Chevrolet's speed these past few weeks, I know Austin Dillon won at Texas and Reddick finished second, but yet, let's be fair, they were not a factor at all in that entire race. It was just the equivalence of dirty air being such a big factor now with this aero package, and then being out in front in clean air gave them a big advantage. But I think when you look at a track like New Hampshire, all you talk about is Toyota, Ford. You don't talk about Chevrolet at New Hampshire, at least not nowadays. So I look at Hamlin and Harvick as being main contenders. Maybe a possibility of Kyle Busch being in the mix, and even Martin Truex Jr. He's run pretty well at New Hampshire. But the Chevrolet guys is what I'm worried about. For those Chevrolet fans out there, including myself, I'm worried about them because I just don't see New Hampshire being the type of racetrack where they are going to show speed. And now on to my picks. A driver that I think is going to struggle, a driver I think is going to surprise, and a driver that I think is going to succeed and win. Let's first start off with the driver that I believe is going to struggle. It is a 48 car of Jimmie Johnson. I get it. I know I just talked about him having a top 5 and even having some top 10 finishes since his last top 5 back in 2012. But again, I just don't see it happening. I think the trend is going to continue where if he shows speed, he ain't going to make it to the end. I mean, that's the thing with Jimmie and the season. If he has speed, he's not going to finish the race. And even if he has speed and finishes the race, he gets DQ'd. If he doesn't show speed, he's going to finish the race, but 2 laps down. So I see Johnson struggling at this racetrack, which again is not good because he is in the hunt for the playoffs just to make it into the playoffs to the top 16. I think New Hampshire is not going to go Johnson's way. I want to be wrong because I want Johnson to make it, but I don't know. When you just look at history-wise and the statistics of Chevrolet, just don't see it happening today. I think Jimmie's going to struggle. But a driver I think is going to surprise comes from the Toyota camp, Christopher Bell. Yes, that's right. You haven't heard his name in a bit. I think he is going to surprise a lot of people and score a good run at New Hampshire today. Remember, he's a 3-time winner at New Hampshire. In fact, in every single start he's had at New Hampshire, he's won. In 1 start in the Truck Series, he won that one. 2 starts in Xfinity, he won both races on that circuit. Now, I don't think he's going to win today, but he knows how to at least run well at the 1-miler track. I think he's going to put on a good run. And to be honest, Christopher Bell, even though I know he's starting 35th, he has somehow managed to find his way into the mix. Even when he has started 25th, 30th, 35th, he somehow managed to crawl his way and find a way into the top 10 and get a good run, surprisingly. And to be honest, like I said, this season, they started out horrible, absolutely atrocious start to the season Bell had. But these past few weeks, they have shown speed. They have shown shown moments of them being competitive. Last weekend, they were involved in that accident, but still, even with that, I think even before that, they were running pretty good. I could be wrong about that, but I believe they were running pretty good before that accident took place. And I think these past few weeks, they have shown speed and actually have got notched up some top 10 finishes. I think if nothing happens to him, Bell is going to get a top 10, potentially a top 5, but regardless, I think it's a driver that is going to surprise a lot of people here today. And finally, a driver I think is going to succeed and win is his fellow Toyota driver teammate, Denny Hamlin. Last year, I should say, finished second to Kevin Harvick from that close last lap battle. He won last weekend at Kansas. I think the added motivation and confidence him and that team has had from that Kansas victory, and just losing out on that New Hampshire win by that much, I think that's going to give Hamlin extra motivation, and I think Hamlin is going to get the job done in New Hampshire today. Remember, New Hampshire has been very, very kind to the Toyota groups. They have the most victories at the racetrack with 7, and I believe 2017 and 2018 there was a streak of back-to-back wins at Joe Gibbs. It was Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, and Denny Hamlin, I believe, in 2017 to 2018. I think it was that streak. So they have had recent success at the 1-mile racetrack. I think that's going to continue today. And that's why I've got Hamlin winning today's race in New Hampshire. But that's going to be it from me for this episode of MDK RaceDay. Guys, tell me in the comment section down below, what are your guys' thoughts? Who do you think is going to win today's race in New Hampshire? And what do you think is going to happen with the playoff picture? Do you think Johnson or Reddick or someone else is going to try and sneak their way into the playoffs? Who do you think is going to potentially fall out? Do you think Chevrolet is going to show speed and be competitive in today's race? Or do you think they're going to struggle? Leave all your thoughts down below. But until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. And I'll see you guys next time.